Hello and many thanks for joining us on our Thursday Business News Report. We now start with news across Nigeria and highlights of commemorations of the International Accountant Day as the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria has charged its newly inducted members to uphold accuracy and integrity as they discharge their respective professional responsibilities. Now, the president of the Institute, Comfort Itayo, made this call at the 68th induction ceremony held in Lagos. Adeshowa Odushoga reports.
This group of 1,242 inductees and 13 registered accountants have now become chartered after scaling through their professional exams mandated by the Institute. With this induction, they have now joined millions of chartered accountants across the world and the over 55,000 members of the Institute. While addressing these newly inducted members, the president of ICANN, Mrs. Comfort Itayo, calls for the accuracy and integrity of the members, as the slogan of the body implies. The guest speaker was also the former president of ICANN, Alhaji Razak Jayola, also charged the accountants to pursue available further knowledge to improve their technical skills.
You must tread the path of honor when conflicts arise between your professional dictates and the urge to undermine the oath you would swear in allegiance to high ethical and professional conduct.
Whatever knowledge that you have today, given the technology age, is not static. Things are changing. I'm sure we all did IFRS in our exams. If I can remember correctly, when I was teaching IFRS, IAS 18 was for revenue recognition. Today, it's no longer.
The ICANN president also announced that the Institute has reviewed downward the number of years to become an associate or full member from 5 to 3 years.
The Institute's governing council, in its wisdom, recently reduced the requisite number of years from 5 to 3 years. I encourage all our registered accountants to take advantage of this opportunity.
The induction ceremony is coming on the heels of the commemoration of the International Accountant Day, a day set aside worldwide to celebrate all professional accountants for their roles in nation building, growth, and development. Adeshowa Odushoga, TVC News, Lagos.
And now away from the accountant space, following reports of fuel shortage and panic buying in some parts of the country, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited and other key stakeholders in the oil and gas industry have allayed fears of fuel scarcity, assuring Nigerians of adequate fuel supply across the country. The group, who gave the assurance in Lagos at a stakeholders meeting, maintained that critical resolutions have been made to ensure steady supply and distribution of petroleum product nationwide during and after the festive season. TVC News correspondent Blaise Ademonose tells us more.
As the festive season approaches, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority have met with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and other key stakeholders in the petroleum product supply and distribution value chain to adopt new measures to prevent petroleum scarcity and maintain stability in the downstream sector of the nation's petroleum industry. This stakeholders' engagement is coming on the heels of looming petrol crisis and panic buying of the products by some Nigerians across the country, amid reports of a likely price increase by marketers. Reading out resolutions agreed upon by these stakeholders at this meeting in Lagos, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Mr. Farouk Ahmed, disclosed that under the new agreement adopted, they agreed to remove all hindrances capable of stalling supply of petroleum products nationwide.
The following items were agreed upon for immediate action. Number one, NNPC assures supply of sufficient PMS to the country. Nigerian midstream downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to engage stakeholders on the reconciliation of bridging claims. The current bridging administrative charges shall continue to apply. What it means is that, just to explain, the bridging shall continue. So transporters are assured of continuous bridging and payment of their claims.
On the issue of movement of petroleum products, stakeholders here agreed that agencies involved should immediately revert to the Naira-denominated invoices of excess capacity of the distribution of the products using the investors and exporters window rate for the time being.
The PRA has been passed. There's a process that has been in place, and there's a timeline in the PRA where we'll get to that point. But in the interim, we have already arranged for stakeholder for an engagement with our key stakeholders early next year, maybe first quarter of next year, to review all this in line with the transition and transition committees that we have established in order to have a smooth transition, a smooth move from the current smooth implementation.
As this meeting comes to a successful close, the NMDPRA assures Nigerians of adequate petroleum products during and after the festive season, urging them to avoid any form of panic buying. Blessed Omonose, TVC News, Lagos.
In this next report now, let's bring you the highlight of trading on the floor of the Nigerian exchange. At midweek, as share prices in key sectors dropped, his portfolio plan has also restricted some funds. Effiong Ekop has the details.
Securities transactions at the nation's stock market slowed down during midweek business as fund managers held back monies. We saw reductions in both trade volumes and values due to some halts in deals. The business conditions brought in price cuts on shares in mid-trade. Red Star Express suffered the heaviest price loss that almost hit 10%. The long lines of trade losers showed Pharma Deco in the healthcare sector, FCN Cocoa in the Agro-allied group, ABC Transport and Chip PLC. Market index declined by the margin of 0.05%, signifying losses on investments. On the windows of deals gainers were Nimev, Charms, Mutual Benefit, Honeywell Flour and Kebeton Aviation. Effiong Ekop, TVC News, Lagos.
And now on the international front, Asian stock markets were also tugged lower by fresh concerns about the sovereignty of China's property developers Evergrande, while a surge in oil price added to worries that a hot US inflation reading could renew some pressure on policymakers to lift rates. S&P 500 futures fell 0.4%, and London's FTSE futures and also the European futures were also down 0.2%. US inflation figures are expected to show consumer prices galloping ahead of 5.8% year-on-year, the fastest pace in a generation. Now, even dovish Federal Reserve officials have considered it is running hotter for longer than it expected. Ahead of that data, US equities also snapped a long winning streak with modest falls early on Tuesday and on Wednesday. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan also dropped 0.6%, while Japan's Nikkei also fell 0.5%. Well, that's it from the business desk this morning. Many thanks for watching so far.